So, hi Ruby, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing good. So, it's really nice to meet you. My name's Arlene and I'm going to be your counselor for today. And so, for our first meeting, I just kind of want to get to know you a little bit and see where you come from and just any important information or information overall that you think would be important for us to know about you. So I'm gonna be taking a few notes if you don't mind.
No worries.
So if you can start off wherever you'd like. So maybe where's your hometown?
Oh, like about me?
I thought you said,
Oh,
yes.
okay. So I'm Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
I'm originally from Santa Ana.
Okay.
Went to high school there, graduated, and then came here. So I have 3 brothers, a sister. It's a pretty good relationship with my family. I feel like we're all pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Home's not like super close to me, I guess I would say. I don't get to see them as often as I would want to, so that's kind of hard. But other than that, yeah, so I'm a 3rd year. I'm currently taking 4 classes, and I'm kind of really involved in a lot of things, so I feel like it's kind of been stressful. Yeah. I'm a sociology and Chicano studies major, and I'm also minoring in education. I'm doing these last 2 years. I'm just trying to like finish up strong and just get ready for whatever happens after undergraduate.
That's good. So what made you choose USC?
Honestly, I just think the networking is like a big part of it. I got a full ride scholarship, so I'm really grateful for that. Otherwise, I don't think I would have afforded to come here because my parents are working class. So, the networking is a big thing. Also, that it's not too far. Like, it's nearby, but it's not too close enough. Where, like, I still have that kind of distance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard, like, good things about the school overall. So, it has a really good reputation.
Okay. That's good. And how would you describe your experience here so far?
It's been really good, actually. My first year, I was kind of trying to get a feel of the school, so I wasn't really involved as much. But I did get to meet, like, a lot of great friends through, like, housing and, like, dorming. And, like, they're still my roommates today, so it's pretty great in that aspect. I've done, like, a lot of the activities, like, they put on through the school, and it's, like, a great way to just, like, release from, like, all the stress and just hang out with friends.
Yeah.
And I've had opportunities to do a lot of academic stuff, too, which is really cool. So I feel like my experience has been well-rounded so far, and I've gotten, like, a taste of a little bit of everything. And that was, like, my initial goal. I just wanted to come in and do, like, a little bit of everything, so when I leave, I kind of have a better feel of what I want to do.
Yeah. That sounds really good. I'm glad that you've taken advantage of the resources that you have here on campus.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more of what you're involved in, what kind of organizations are you a part of, what do you like to do?
So I'm currently doing research. I'm doing this research program. And my own particular research is studying first-generation students in high schools and how they go about choosing their college and majors and whatever they want to study, so in their senior year. And then I'm involved in one organization that does, like, a lot of, like, kind of not lobbying, but, it's more, like, focused on the reform aspect of education, so kind of, like, being informed about policies and kind of trying to go about informing people about them and making them aware, and then kind of changing them if they're not fit to the community that I'm in, right? So I want to make sure that these practices that are being passed are fair and just, I guess is what I'm saying. And then I'm in another organization, and I mentor once a week in East LA to high school students, like helping them apply to college.
Okay.
So that's been really cool. And then I have an internship. And I do that like 5 to 7 hours a week, just depends. And I work in AVID classrooms in high school. And that one's just more like classroom assistance. So just like kind of, you know, them getting a feel of like what college is like them asking me questions and then helping them in like the AVID routine, which is like really preparing them for college. Okay. And then, am I missing anything? I feel like I'm missing something. I work 20 hours a week.
Okay.
So, yeah, I work at the library. It's nothing hectic, but I mean, it is a big chunk of my time that I don't have to focus on other stuff. But I think I've hit everything. Okay. Yeah, I think I hit everything.
All right. Thank you. So, I forgot to mention earlier, but our first meeting for today, due to scheduling conflicts, is only going to run for 20 minutes.
Okay.
So, I need to set my timer really fast just to ensure that I don't take any of your time.
Okay.
But okay, so let's continue where we left off. So it sounds like you're very much involved on campus, and a lot of the stuff seems like it revolves around education. So education is a really important thing.
Yeah, I think since I was a kid, my mom always pushed it. Like, she was always like, I sacrificed so much for you guys because I wanted a better future for you. So like for her, or both my parents coming from Mexico and like wanting that for us, I think that really pushed me to like want to do better. Not better, but just like excel in like education. So I think when I got when I got here to USC, I wanted to really focus on what is the stuff about education that I don't know about, right? Like all the policies and things and the system, how it works. So I wanted to make sure that I took some education classes.
Okay.
So when I started taking those classes, I got really informed about them. And then after learning more about it, I realized I was really passionate about it. So I started more of like the activism and like going out into the community and like really just being more hands-on instead of just like the theories and all the information about it. I think it's really important to do like both aspects. So I really do see myself in an educational career somewhere in the future. I haven't decided like what that looks like for me yet, but I do know that I'll definitely be working somewhere in the education field.
That's really good. So happy to hear all the things that you're doing.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more about your course load this week, since you have a lot of stuff that you're involved in. How do you manage that?
Well, I guess that's what's been like really hard because I am involved in so much because I want to really, I guess, enhance my resume and really make sure that whatever I do after I get out of here, after I graduate, will make me a good fit. I've been trying to do so many other things that I kind of just have to schedule things to like manage my like work, my workload. So yeah, I am taking 4 classes. It's 1 sociology class, an education class, a Chicano studies class, and then a GE, like a science class.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the classes are hard per se. I think it's just more of like there's a lot of reading and writing. But I really love the writing aspect because I think I feel like I'm pretty strong. The science GE is a little more of a struggle. I think it's not my like area. But it's really interesting stuff. I feel like I need to hone down on it. I think it's more of like it's been a struggle trying to balance everything because I am doing so much.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's like been a struggle.
Okay. Would you say that there are any other areas that you would like to improve on as far as your academics go?
In academics only? I don't know. I feel like because I've been here like a couple years already, I feel like it's not necessarily like academics. I feel like I've been doing so like good overall. Like my GPA is okay, like it's solid. I think it's more of like balancing everything in my life so that I feel like I'm not neglecting one aspect over the other.
Okay.
Because I feel like that comes out a lot.
In what way?
Like for example, if like I have a lot of things during the week, right? Because I'm involved in all these things, and then when it comes to the weekend, like people want to hang out, but I'll want to prioritize school because I need to do my assignments. But then I feel bad because I also want to enjoy my undergraduate career, and I feel like it's kind of a struggle because it's like you can only do so much, right? There's only 24 hours in a day, and I think trying to figure out what I want to prioritize over other things is a challenge because I want to really focus on academics, but then I also want to have a good time, and it's just like. Yeah, and if I do one over the other, then one thing falls apart, I guess.
Okay. So, what are your what's your social life like?
Well, lately it has been tough, like trying to see friends. I feel like sometimes it gets hard trying to explain, like, like I'm doing so much, I can only, I can only see you guys for so many times.
Yeah.
I think for the most part they're understanding. I think it's when it's big events, also like coming to understand that like I need to go home sometimes too. Is like, so it's really like it really does feel like a balancing act. Like how long can I go till like something falls apart? So I think I wish I had more of a social life. I guess I do go out occasionally, but because I've been so focused on getting everything else in my life, like get together with like academics and everything that will happen after graduation, I feel like I have been lacking the social life. So That's one thing.
Okay. And so, what exactly brings you into our office here today?
Well, I think I want to find like a better way to balance everything. I want to make sure that I don't feel guilty for like, let's say I go out with my friends and then like I didn't do that paper the way I had planned it, because I feel like my perfectionist tendencies get in the way so much where I'm like, this paper needs to be perfect. And when I do that, I feel like I don't give myself enough room to hang out with my friends. When I could just be like, I'll work on it for a little bit and then I'll go out, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know what I need to be done, but I feel like for some reason I can't do it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to execute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. And there's a lot of other students who
Mm-hmm.
also struggle with this same.
Mm-hmm.
What's your situation like with your roommates? You mentioned that you have the same roommates from first year?
Yeah, so my first year, it was like really interesting because I didn't know them, so I got to meet them in that way, and like we lived in a small room with like 3 beds, and it was like, I guess it's like, I mean, growing up and having to share space wasn't such a difficult problem for me, like it was for one of my roommates, but I think she kind of learned how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because we all got along so well, like we decided to live together, and now it's our 3rd year. I mean, this year has been a little more of a struggle because I feel like, I don't know, people are like finding their own path and like realizing what they want to do and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, maybe like sometimes I feel like left out when they do things. I don't know, it's partly because I'm busy, but it's also like I don't feel like I get invited, or you know, like they just feel like, oh, she's so busy and we're not gonna invite her in the first place. And I think like that kind of sucks, you know. And then I feel like that plays into my social life and why I don't feel like I'm going out either, because it's like, well, if people know I'm busy and then they don't invite me, you know, it just adds on to the feeling, I feel like, that I don't have a social life and that people just kind of like, oh, just like push me aside because they know that I'm so busy.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but yeah. I mean, they're great people, but I feel like next year I'm probably going to room with different people just because I feel like that's kind of contributing to me feeling that way.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's like the biggest factor, but I feel like that does contribute to it, so I kind of want to like live maybe with less people and just like one person that I'm really close with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you live off campus as of right
Yeah,
now?
I do, yeah. So it's nearby, though. It's like a good 10-minute walk, 15, so
Okay.
get my exercise in. Yeah.
Okay. So, let's see. Is there anything else that you would like to add that maybe I haven't asked?
Well, I guess like another thing too is like why I feel like the balancing act is kind of like crazy is because like I get sick so often too, and I feel like that's like a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get sick at least once a semester, like for sure, like without a doubt. I have not missed a semester where I don't get sick.
Okay.
And it's like it's always near like the middle or the end,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I feel like I know the stress is getting to me because I feel like my body reacts in a certain way.
Okay.
And then that kind of like I feel like stresses me out even more because then I fall behind because I'm so sick and I can't do things. I just like I feel like I'm so on top of everything, and when I feel like I don't have that control, like I feel like I'm gonna go insane. Like I'm just losing everything. Like it's just falling out of my hands and stuff. So I think just making sure that I take care of myself would be another one of my priorities. Like,
Okay. Yeah. What do you do now to ensure that you take care of yourself?
I'm a really big fan of Netflix.
Okay.
I really love it. I think it's like a good way for me to de-stress, and because I'm so focused on the show, I don't think about anything else that I have to do. I'm just so like what's happening in the plot and everything.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way. Another way would I guess be hang out with my friends, which is another one. I just think it's like picking certain things that I want to do with my friends because I mean college is a big like party scene, but I only like to do that occasionally. I don't think that's my thing. So I think finding the right ways to hang out, like maybe go to dinner or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, just visiting my family is like a big thing for me. So I try to make sure I try to go home at least once a month, but that doesn't always work out.
Okay.
So yeah, I just feel like there's so much going on.
Yeah, it's hard because there's a lot of stuff that you have to balance as a college student.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really good that you have your family that's not too far, still not too close, but they're in a good in between. So, would you say that they play a major role, like in your life?
Yeah, they definitely do. I feel like they're like my biggest motivation. I think it's like really hard because a lot of people from LA or at least from USC like have family nearby.
Yeah.
Like I guess like nearby like LA, not
Yeah.
like Orange County or like somewhere southern, like more south. So for them it's like, oh, I can go home for dinner, or like people live at home, which is really nice, but I feel like for me it's so hard when like I feel like I can't do that because first of all I don't have a car, so I wouldn't be able to do that. I would have to have my parents pick me up, and then my mom and dad don't drive. Well, at least, you know, they prefer not to drive, so I don't want to make them come out here.
Yeah.
So I feel like my transportation would be like taking the Amtrak or like the Metro or some type of transportation or finding carpool.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's what makes it even harder to go home because like not only do I have to find a weekend where I'm not busy, but I have to find a way to get there and make sure that all the logistics are figured out so that nothing really kind of goes wrong and it doesn't fall back on my family, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to disappoint them either.
So, going back to your academics, what would you say that is maybe your most challenging subject? I know that you mentioned science is one. Have you taken courses like that in the past?
No, well... I did take another science class, but that one I felt like was more challenging than this one. It was like had a lab component, and like the professor was super strict on like what he wanted, and like that was really tough. That was a really tough quarter because I wanted to get a good grade, but it was like so tough. So for this one, it's not necessarily like, I wouldn't say it's a sciencey. I mean, it is a science part, but I wouldn't say it's like not knowing the content material. It's more of like it's such different material than what I'm used to. It's not like read and then write a paper. It's like read and like be able to tell me what you just learned on an exam, which I hate because then I feel like I'm just like stressed out about the exam.
Yeah.
I just feel like when I write, I have my process where like today I'm gonna plan it. Tomorrow I'm gonna write a page or a paragraph, and then in an exam it's like no, here's 2 full hours and get everything done.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why it's a little also different for me because not only the material but then the exams and like how everything's supposed to be done. It's like it's mostly exams. It's like it's really stressful.
Yeah. And I know we're approaching finals, so how have you handled midterms in the past?
You mean finals?
No, your midterms and how do you...
I was like, okay.
And how will you be approaching your finals?
Well, I feel like midterms is a little easier because they're kind of like spread out since there's not like a specific midterm week. So I feel like I've been able to like do that okay just because it's very rare where like all of them fall in the same week for me. I feel like they're usually like spaced out. In terms of finals, I feel like it's just being really prepared like in advance, which I already like to do, but I think it's just being able to take care of myself without like breaking down or like burning out, you know. So I feel like that's the biggest part. It's like people are just like just seeing other people stress out even stresses me out. I'm just like, oh my god, like can I just have blinders on and like I just like I just feel like I'm really good like academically. It's just like I don't want to stress myself out all the time because I know that I can do things, but I just like put this overwhelming amount of pressure on myself.
Yeah. Why do you think that pressure comes?
I think being a first-gen student is probably a big part of it. Just not wanting to disappoint my parents, trying to make them proud, you know. I also have like this like notion of wanting to be the best for everything, and it's like obviously it's not realistic because you can't always reach that. But for me, I feel like that's a motivating thing for me. It's like if you try to be the best, you know, you can probably excel at something and really be the best at it. It's not guaranteed every time, but I feel like, I don't know, it's like being a perfectionist and like having those kind of tendencies are like good and bad because they can be motivating, but they can also like lead the other way. So I feel like that's what's like what I'm trying to find, like that middle space where like I can be motivated, but then also not like feel bad about things, you know. So I feel like a lot of pressure definitely comes with like wanting to succeed and like just like I guess like make my parents proud, but also like prove people wrong on like what they say about like first gen and like Latino students, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these all can be some hard times, especially for first gen students. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Have there been any obstacles or other things that you feel like have hindered you maybe throughout your process here?
I mean, I think at first because I was first gen, like not knowing anything, like literally just come here and like, what do I do? You know, not knowing like what classes am I even supposed to sign up for, or like just like very simple things that you don't really think about, or things that were such big challenges for me, and I couldn't really call my parents and ask them because they have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
My siblings didn't go to college. They had their own like path and they have jobs and everything, but they didn't really want school. So I think just having to like really handle everything on my own and like not wanting to stress my parents out, and like telling them like, oh, I'm like freaking out because then they'll be worried and I don't want to worry them.
Yeah.
So I feel like a big thing about it is just like feeling like alone, really just like not knowing what to expect.
Yeah. Would you say that you have an idea of the resources that are available here on campus now?
I would say yes and no. I feel like I know about some. I feel like there's probably some I haven't even heard about that would be helpful too. I feel like the ones that I do know about is because I'm so involved on campus, I've heard about them through like students that like I know, or like, you know, the areas that I'm involved in. Like if I ask a question, like I know who to ask. I just think I'm not very good at like asking for help, I guess. Is another thing. I don't know. Does that make sense? It's like, I don't know. It's like a big thing. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you mind elaborating a little more on that?
I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like not wanting to tell people that you need help, I guess is like the thing. It's like I don't want people to know that like I'm struggling, because then I feel like they'll think that like I don't deserve to be here because I don't know like stupid little things like how to sign up for a class, or, you know, like they sound so dumb, but at the same time it's like being first gen like puts that pressure on you where you just don't want to make sure people think about you a certain way. I mean, I'm glad that I've had like support where like the spaces I go in, they have people that most people have been first gen, or they just understand overall. They don't have to be first gen, they just understand. So I think I've been really lucky in that aspect. I just think that it's part of my personality where I'm like, I'll be okay, I'll figure it out on my own.
Yeah. Is there, let's see. Is there any other personal concerns that you may have?
In like what aspect?
It can be from either like your job and finances, or your health. You mentioned a little bit about how you get sick.
Actually, yeah, I guess like finances, I guess, is why I work so much too. Like I was planning on getting another job, and I was like, no, because I want to kind of focus on like building my resume and stuff. But I guess like that's why I got the job, because like my first year I was like, oh, I don't want to get a job because I want to get a feel for the campus. But then I realized I was really struggling financially. I would have like $1 in my bank account, and it'd be like the end of the quarter. I'm like, how am I supposed to get anything that I need? And I could ask for my parents. I mean, I could, but I knew that if I asked them, they would struggle.
Yeah.
So I guess I just kind of went by like just trying to get by, you know. And that's why I started working, and I feel like that's really helped a lot because, you know, I could pay for rent, I could pay for things that I need, I can save a little for those times. So I think that's been like a good, really good like fallback for me.
Okay. So we're gonna have to cut our
No worries.
meeting short, but we'll be sure to pick up where we left off for our next meeting. And I thank you once again for coming in and for being open to answering these questions. Okay.
Of course. Thank you so much.